Hello YouTube, GreatsRJ1 here, and today I'm back making another video. This time we're doing a Qui Gon Jinn concept video. Now I've been doing a lot of concept videos, but I really enjoy making them, and they're not really that popular on my channel, and I don't blame most people for not watching them. Star Wars is not really the thing for my channel, but this is the thing that's going to keep my channel, my channel alive until I get back to my main series. So do expect more Star Wars content, most likely concepts, because I am really enjoying making these concepts right now. So for this video we have Qui Gon Jinn, probably who is one of the most fan favorited characters, and probably in the top 3 or at least in the top 5 for fan favourites, along with Ahsoka, Boba and Maul. So now let's get into the wait, what? He was in the wall. However, let's get into his stamina to begin with. Now, Qui-Gon can attack for 30 swings, block, blaster bolts, and lightsaber attacks. So he has 30 attacking, blocking blaster bolts, and lightsaber attack stamina. So basically, all his stamina value is basically 30. His stamina delay is 1.5. and from 0 to max stamina regen time would be 2.1. Swing speed, 1 attack per second. I know I'm doing that. I know I'm doing more detailing on this. I just wanted to do a bit more detailing since that's not what I've really done. And really, this is about the second lightsaber concept video, which is strictly for their main weapon being a lightsaber. Now, like Ahsoka, his weapon of choice would be his green lightsaber, but for Ahsoka, it would be her white lightsaber, her green or blue or yellowish lightsaber, or sometimes the staff, depending on the skin you're using. Anyway, his health would be about 750 like Obi-Wan. Health recovery probably would be about 350, so he has quite a lot of health recovery. Health recovery delay, I'm just going to make that be health recovery and health recovery recharge time, basically just the same for Obi-Wan. So with that out the way, what is now the abilities he has, and what's his damage output? Well, from the front he will deal 150 damage, and from the back 200. This would be for all classes, just to keep things fast and simple. And really for the lightsaber form he uses, which is quite aggressive, I feel like this suits him quite well. Now let's get into the abilities. So for his left ability we have a Taru Master. Now this ability basically acts similar to Dooku's Duelist. Notice how I said similar, not the same, because it doesn't actually work like Dooku's Duelist. It gives off most of the effects Dooku's Duelist gives off. He increases his swing speed and stamina, but he does not increase his damage. This is basically to keep things balanced. Any more damage than what he already has, and you'll basically be too powerful. But he can one-shot basically heavies and buffed officers, and pretty much any class from the back, unless the heavy's buffed. And he can also one-shot all classes, but buffed officers and heavies, and probably buffed other classes from an attack from the front. So when you're playing as Qui-Gon, you need to get things done fast. So so basically, just imagine Dooku's duelist but for Qui Gon. This would just put him into the Ataru stance for the animation. And keep in mind, he is Dooku's apprentice, or Padawan. At least he used to be, before you know what happened. Anyway, now for his middle ability. This one would be by far his most powerful. This would probably be called the Secret of the Force. And what this would basically do is that it would put him into the meditation he was in when he was fighting Maul, and he turned off his lightsaber and went into like a meditation stance when they were in the red laser parts. Basically, that's what this would be. He would go into that animation, and he would turn in, and you would no longer be connected to the main character model, but you turn into a Force Ghost, and you have no health bar, basically meaning you're invincible. Now you will not be visible to anybody, not even your teammates, and actually you will be visible to only certain heroes. These certain heroes will be Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda, and maybe some other heroes. But other than those heroes, you will not remain visible to any other characters, to any other people, unless they're those specific heroes. Now, you basically get to play as Qui Gon again, but you do not get damaged. This is by far his best ability, but do keep in mind, if you activate it while falling off a cliff, that would usually kill you. You'll die, and you get 50% damage reduction on the main character model. That's meditating. So you get that. So you do get 50% damage reduction, and you can still get killed. And if the meditating Qui Gon gets killed, then you basically die, and the ability of the Force Ghost will cancel out. Then when it comes, now do keep in mind he does have damage reduction, so it's not as if he's going to be invincible and you can't do anything. So do keep that in mind. But he can also get killed if you do it out of bounds, for the out of bounds timer, so he can still die while doing it. But this basically just allows him to navigate to get around places while doing it. But keep in mind, once you exit the ability, you will be gone back to the meditating Qui Gon, and you will be, so say you got to the front of the battle and you needed, and you thought, and your health bar, now he will have the health bar showing, but this will only be for the actual meditating Qui Gon. So this one would just be shown in a different colour, like green or something like that, and this would just be shown in a different colour, just to show that it's a different health bar for your main character model, not the Force Ghost you're in right now. So if, say, you got really far in the battle, but you notice your health's getting low, but you want to escape and get to where you were, as soon as you come out, well, tough luck, because you'll be sent back, because your camera will be set back to where the meditating Qui Gon is. So you stay where you are, and even if when you come out of the meditation ability, you're going to be where you still are. Now his last ability, which is probably his second best ability, will be called Mind Trick. So this basically is another powerful ability. Keep in mind that the Force Ghost ability does not have a timer, so you can get in and out of it. But you do keep in mind it will have a cooldown, and it will be pretty long, you could say, because I don't want people being always using the ability. And really, it would basically become unbanned, since you'd always have the 50-second damage reduction, really, not the 50% of damage reduction. Anyway, the Mind Trick would probably be the most accurate to an actual mind trick in the movies, in my opinion. Basically what this is that he'll perform the Mind Trick basically with Obi-Wan's animation, you could say, if not a similar animation, all the way he does it to Watto and it fails. And basically what this will do is that he basically becomes invincible to any damage, and if you get attacked, then the damage done to you will be swapped over to the enemy that's attacking you, even if you're not blocking, so he can absorb all damage. This will only last for 5 or 3 seconds though, and really all you have to do to counter this is literally just do not attack Qui Gon. That's all you have to do to not get this done. So now we've got all that sorted. So now we can get onto the emotes, which I think there are 2 most certainly needed emotes that are basically in any Qui Gon. And they are usually always in a Qui Gon concept usually. So, but we can also. But first off, we need to get to his star cards and the cooldowns for his abilities. So his left ability, this only increases swing speed and stamina, and the way you need to be playing Qui Gon is basically beginning off when you're getting attacked, being quite defensive, and basically being quite defensive. Then once the duel gets later on and your enemies get way more aggressive, that's when you begin your attack. Because that was done in the Darth Maul duel he did, the Duel of the Fates, which is also the name of the song. I'm pretty sure it was called that. And yeah, and I sort of want that to be reflected in your gameplay. You want to begin off as more like an Obi-Wan hero, and then you switch to more of a Kylo Ren Vader hero. That's sort of how I want him to play. Like, once the enemies are getting very, very aggressive, that's when you begin your attack. I feel like that's how it should be played. So, anyways, for a Taru Master, it's really, that only just helps him a little. And really, the stamina will only go up by 5 for all the stamina values. So you have 35 stamina for basically everything. So this is not too much of a crazy ability. And really, its swing speed only gets increased to about Luke's swing speed, because his swing speed is basically the speed of basically Obi-Wan's. It does not swing quite fast really, and it is 1 attack per second really. Anyway, we can now get into the star cards once we finish off all his ability cooldowns. So a Taru Master, I'd give a 10-second cooldown. It's not that crazy, so it's why I don't give it a very long cooldown. Now the middle ability. This is his most powerful ability by a far, because he can kill enemies and not take damage. Now this is sort of done in the Mind Trick, but this just makes it so you can just hide somewhere, or if you had a knockdown, and you got to a place where you can't, then no other character but like Boba can get to, then you can just do it. And then yeah, but to keep in mind, he cannot take damage as Force Ghost. So this would have a 20-second cooldown. Now the reason why it has a long cooldown is because Mind Trick only lasts for a few seconds, and it's not, so that's why it's not its best ability. If this lasted for however long you wanted, like the middle ability did, then this, I would call that the most powerful ability. Now it's Mind Trick. I'd give it another 20-second cooldown. So basically, it's a Taru Master. It's the ability you're going to be using the most often. So let's get into the star cards, shall we? Now his first star card would be called Jedi Master. This would basically be, this would increase his health regen, a bit like Obi-Wan's. This would go from basically 25 health to 50 to 75 up to 100, basically like Obi-Wan's, giving him a 450 health regen. which is over half of his health bar, so he's much like Obi-Wan now. The next one will be called Master or something like that, and basically this will just increase his mind trick, and basically just slightly increase the damage that would be done to the enemies when they're attacking you, so he deals a bit more damage from what actually would be done. This will go from 1 extra damage to 2 to 3 to 4, so they'd be having 4 more damage dealt to them. And if you're going by my Palpatine guide attacking Qui Gon with this ability up, and he has 1000 damage ready to blow at the enemies, and he has no star cards on, well, good luck, because as soon as you zap Qui Gon for even less than a second, you're gonna be dead. So yeah, so he's quite a powerful hero with these abilities. Anyway, next ability. This would be called Master of the Force, or follow the Force, and basically this would just slightly decrease the recharge time of the ability that turns him into a Force Ghost. Keep in mind this is only slightly, it does not decrease it much. It goes from 0.1 to 0.2 to 0.3 to 1 second, so it still has a rather long recharge time. But if you often find yourself getting damaged a lot, then this might help you a lot more. I don't know. The next one will be Controlled, and basically this would also decrease the amount of time for his mind trick. This one is not as powerful as Force Ghost, so this would have a better cooldown. It would go from 1 second to 2 to 3 to 4, basically giving him a 16-second cooldown, while this one would give it a 19-second cooldown. So it is a bit better, but this is still not, I wouldn't say this is his best card yet. The next card would be the Master of Ataru. Now he's not actually the master of it, I would probably give that to Yoda, but he's quite skilled in Ataru, which is his lightsaber fighting style. This would say during the amount, so this description would be during the time of the Master of Ataru ability, this would make him more acrobatic, increasing his damage slightly. So that would be the description. It does not actually make him more acrobatic. Ataru is an aggressive acrobatics fighting form. Now that was just put in because that's what Ataru is, an acrobatic form. The animations will not make him look more acrobatic, it will just slightly increase the damage. To be fair, this will not increase it a lot. His damage output is 150 from the front and 200 from the back. This would only increase the front damage, not the back damage, because I feel like increasing the back damage would be a bit much. So it would go from 3 extra damage to 2 so it would go from basically 153 to 155, 156, up to 150, up to 160. Now I know the values went down a little, but do keep in mind these are actually stacking up, so you are stacking up these. So yeah, so you are technically stacking it up even though you're not. Anyway, the next one. Now really, he does not have many force abilities apart from the 2 I gave him, which are more powerful. So this one would say the time of the mind trick ability is slightly increased, so it will last about 3 seconds. This will go from 0.20 to 0.30 to 0.40 to 0.50. A bit like this card here, so I'll say a bit like. This would just make it last 3 seconds and 0.50 milliseconds basically. So it does last a little bit longer. Next one. I might just go to defaults, like cards that don't really include abilities much anymore right now. So this one, this would just, I don't know. Maybe smarter tactics or something like that. And this would just slightly increase the damage of its normal lightsaber without Master of Ataru, or whatever it was, whatever I called it. I think it was Master of Ataru, wasn't it? Now this would just increase his normal lightsaber attacks from the front again. Now this one would be probably more useful than the Master of Ataru one, because it's not going to be as, this one will be more useful. So this would go from, well, you won't, and this will also only affect the front attacks. I feel like that's just going to be a bit better from the front instead of the back. Anyway, it would go from 5 extra damage to 8 extra damage, 4 to 9, and then to 10. Basically giving him 160 front damage. Again, this one would not be too useful in a trooper mode, as you're going to be one-shotting most of the enemies anyway. From the front, and really this would not affect any heavies either, so this would be more of a hero mode only card. Next one, this would basically slightly increase the time for how long Master of Ataru is. Master of Ataru will last 10 seconds like Dooku's Duelist. This will increase the amount of time it goes on for. So it will go to 11, 12, 13 up to 14. 14 extra seconds. Well, not 14 extra seconds, but 4 extra seconds. Have given him 14 seconds of it being active. This is more of a useless ability, really. I mean, you'd only use it if you need the extra stamina or something like that. So yeah, now the last one. This one will probably be called critical defense or something like that. This is already called critical deflection. And this would basically just increase his blocking stamina. This would go from 1 extra to 3 extra, so he can block 3 extra lightsaber swings and blaster bolts. Actually, I'm just going to make it exclusive to blaster bolts because I feel like that would be a bit more suited. Then you'll go up to 6 and eventually at 7. So he has his blaster blocking value will go up to 37 instead of 30. So now onto what I'd say the best setup for him is. I'd say the extra health regen, the shorter cooldown on the middle ability, and then the last one, it's sort of up to you whether you want a shorter cooldown on it or whatever. For a hero mode, I'd go for the increased health regen, the shortened ability recharge on the middle ability, and then for the last one I would probably go with the extra damage. I feel like that one's going to be much more useful. For the middle, I'm going for trooper modes. I'd say extra health, shorter recharge for the not extra health, the extra health regen, the shorter recharge time on the abilities, on the middle ability I mean, and the extra deflection. Now this one, you actually would have probably infinite stamina as a Force Ghost. I'm not too sure. You just be the same as how you were, but you don't actually have to worry, and all you have to worry about is getting found where you are. So here I'm just going to go over how the middle ability would be best used, cause it's not really, and this has never really been done, but I'm only doing it because I feel like it should be done for how it works. So how do I make this? So how is this being the most effective? Well, one, you have to find a location where you think you won't get found, or in a location where people don't usually go to. For an example, inside the cantina on Tatooine, that on Mos Eisley, people don't usually go there, in there at least, so you're going to usually be safe in there, unless you get spot going in there. Or you could just hide at your spawn. Then you activate the ability, and you can't go through walls, unfortunately, but you can still attack enemies. And if you notice your health bar, which will be coloured green when you're in the ability, and if you notice it's quite low, or it's going a bit quite low, then that's when you deactivate the ability and try to defend yourself. Now let's get into the appearances and emotes, shall we? Now I think the two emotes that are most needed for him are "There's always a bigger fish." I feel like this is probably the most needed emote in my opinion. I really like the line. And then the last emote, and then the other needed emote should be the ability to speak does not make you intelligent. You usually just always find these emotes on the Qui Gon Jinn concept video. They're usually always on there. But let's get into his appearances, shall we? First appearance would be Jedi Master. Basically, this would be him in his robes appearance. This is what he usually wears for most of the movie, so this would be his main appearance instead of the normal uncloaked appearance. Next one would be a uncloaked appearance, not really too special. Now next would be the poncho appearance he has on Tatooine, you know, when he's wearing the poncho on Tatooine. Next would be a hooded appearance from the beginning of the Phantom Menace, and I think these appearances should be the main appearances for him. They usually, most people just go with the robed Tatooine appearance and the uncloaked appearance. I just wanted to give it a little bit more. However, we could go a little bit step further and go into like some legends categories and give him a Padawan appearance, but I don't think that would be necessary. Well, it's came to the end of the video. Let's hope I can find a way to make the thumbnail for this video, because this one's going to be a bit hard to make. But I will say, one of the victory poses he needs, in my opinion, should be the Ataru stance. I feel like this should be his default one, and this is basically what the stance Yoda's doing right now. This is basically the Ataru stance. I feel like this should be one of his victory poses, to be fair. Maybe his default victory pose. And I feel like this will make a lot of people happy. Anyway, that will be it for today's video. So if this version of Qui Gon Jinn was to be added, do you think he'd be a good hero or not? I think he would, and probably be one of the most powerful as well. But one of the voice lines I think that should be said that he should be saying is when he sees Anakin using Retribution, or when he sees Vader, or in both those situations, he just says the line he said in Attack of the Clones where he says Anakin, Anakin, no. I feel like that he should be saying that when he notices Anakin's using Retribution and when he sees Vader. I feel like those lines should be in the game when it happens. I don't think it should be an emote. I feel like it should just be some banter. But I feel like a really funny response from Anakin could be where he just says, "What?" I feel like that could be a really funny response. So, I don't know. So anyway, that'll be it for today's video. I don't know how I'm going to pull off the thumbnail. I'll probably use this Obi-Wan appearance, then head over to Rey and use this hairstyle because it's pretty similar to Qui Gon. Anyway, that'll be it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. And do keep in mind the next heroes that will be coming up will be Asajj Ventress, Mace Windu, Jango Fett, and Free Vizsla. Mace Windu was not on the original list when I did it with Ahsoka, but he is on it now. I've been thinking, I have about only one, if not two, of his abilities planned, so we'll see. I think I only have one planned, so we'll see when I get Mace Windu out, because I only have one of the abilities planned. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you think he'd be a fun hero, then do let me know. I think he would. So yeah, bye.